long line, pay money in there, and go.
Pay, yeah, you got to pay.
Yeah, and then go buy a T-shirt from them, saying that. Oh, no way. That was one of the big letdowns. That was one of the reasons why I stopped in Vegas and went that direction for hours trying to find the place. And then, then you find out they don't even do the show out of it.
That's that just tells you that not everything you see on TV is what it is. Wow.
It's all scripted. It's all fake. Most of it is anyway. They have to make
and go ahead, Ed. That's like a lot of the ghost hunting shows. A lot of that stuff scripted and stuff. I can't stand that. It just drives me bonkers.
Well, yeah, but if they don't do it, they won't get the audience to watch it.
Yeah,
I mean, they have to make it exciting. Do you imagine like somebody coming into a shop? They're going to come in there, with all this stuff they do. How many hundreds of people come in there that are looking for a bottle of booze, coming in there trying to,
a saw penknife or something.
Yeah.
Not a one of a kind Elvis Presley record somewhere, a gold record or something. There's somebody that's coming in to sell a stolen penknife or something.
Yeah, and I was going to have this one guy from a TV show on, but he got fired on. It was a ghost hunter show, and I'm not going to mention. I don't want to get sued. I'm not going to say what network it might be from. Gee. But yeah,
we already know.
Yeah, well, you already mentioned on that other show what it was. Anyway, but no, it was not. It was the travel.
Right.
I know
yep.
Something travel.
That's the one.
I don't remember what it is. Travel something. Anyway, when they would go out there, he said a lot of times they never. And I talked to him on the phone. Screen him if I wanted to see if I wanted to bring him on or not. And the guy, kind of started, telling me, like a lot of times they go out and nothing would happen at all. And he said the majority of the time they would go out and nothing would happen. And they come back and the network would say, well, go back tomorrow and fake it.
Oh, boy.
Okay, well, they got to have ratings. They have, who's going to watch a show if nothing ever happens, right?
Right,
yeah.
right.
So I don't know. I don't watch ghost hunting shows. I don't, it frustrates me. And a lot of this stuff I don't watch. People have told me Project Blue Book is cool. I don't know. I just remember the old series from years ago. And again, I don't know. From
1978. It was called Project UFO, but it was based same thing, Project Blue Book. It was from 78. They got them online. You can still watch them.
No, yeah, they used to also have Project Blue Book. It was done by the same guy. It did Adam 12, produced it.
Yep.
He was a detective, and him and the other guy played in MASH as the Colonel, Dragnet.
Yeah, Jack Webb.
Yeah, he produced that.
Yep.
And
yes, he did.
The Project Blue Book then, and they would go around and I don't know. I was doing a little rant today about aliens and UFOs, if they're going to be disclosure this year.
I know everybody says it, but you know what? I don't think there'll ever be a disclosure unless one literally crashes in front of 500,000 people somewhere. I just don't think, because one thing they would be admitting lying and losing face. I don't know. I just don't see it happening. I just don't.
Well, I don't, because it's funny. As long as I've been in and out of broadcasting, and we talk occasionally about UFOs, I've been hearing it since 1976. My friend Art Bell, we would talk about that, and it's like, he always said, oh, there'll never be disclosure. And you know what? I hear it from all these UFO people, every year. Oh, it's going to be disclosure next year. It's going to be disclosure next year. And it's always next year or this year. Has it happened yet? I don't think so. I think it's going to.
Right.
I think it's one.
Because now it's 40. It's 40. You've been hearing that for 40 plus years. So have I. Actually, same thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm going to be long dead, and I don't know if I'm going to be buried, or if at Washington State now you can be composted. Do you know that?
I've seen that. That is incredible. You can become a tree or something, or a compost or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. They take my materials left after they compost me, right? And then they can plant a cherry tree or an apple tree. And Ooh,
Or you could go down to some place down in Carolinas. They make you a diamond too if you got big money.
Oh yeah. And then when you have to go pawn it, you go. Well, this isn't a real diamond. This was my Aunt Bertha. You know, she used to play a saxophone at a nudist camp the group called the Sex Cornet.
First of all, you'd have to wait in line and pay to get in, and then pay to sell it, and then they would look at it and say, "Oh no, this is this is Gary. This isn't good enough quality. Take this back." Oh goodness.
Well, if it only cuts plexiglass, then you know it's not a real diamond.
Yeah, but that's a good point. Jesus. So your choice, you could be a compost. Is there different grades of compost, or is it just one shot?
I don't know, but, you know, one point in my life, I lived right next door to a composting yard, commercial, where they make compost and bag it. I tell you, I'd rather live next to a place where they refine sewage.
I was going to say, how was the country air there?
Well, put it this way, on a hot day, you feel like you can't breathe, and, you want to take a wood clothespin and put it over your nostrils.
Wow. Because I got to tell you something. You go buy one bag of compost, and it stinks up the neighborhood, much less living beside a plant. Oh, Lord. I can imagine.
Well, I don't know if that's the way I want my body to end up. I was actually going to go and put a clause in my, my will, to take me to a taxidermist or whatever you call it, and and stuff me.
That's a good one. Never thought about that. Oh boy!
Of course, then they have to figure out how to get rid of all the insides, which probably would take a dump truck to get rid of it.
We can put you on tour. Oh boy, stuff you and put you on tour like they did with what's his name there, the singer. I can't even think of his name now. Remember when he died? They put him on tour. He was dead for like 2 months.
Oh, wow.
James Brown. Remember James Brown when he died? They took him on tour for a couple months and showed him around. It was bizarre.
Yeah, I don't know. Somebody tried to make money, I guess, off of his body.
I wonder if it was maybe the co-owners of Skype. It seems like they got their hands on a lot of things.
Oh, you're trying to get the network sued here, dude.
No, it was just a hypothetical question. Strike it from the post.
Yeah, we never said anything like that. But, no. I was all set to talk about monster movies, the original King Kong movie, and how technology has advanced so much and how they do the special effects and all that stuff. But, I was going to talk about the creature in the Black Lagoon, like when he comes out of the water, right? That was a good one. You could see his zipper on the back. My God,
How about the original King Kong when the hand come in the window? It was real looking, wasn't it? From the 30s there?
I guess it, in the 30s in the theater, I guess it would be realistic. Of course, what would you do if a big hand like that came through your window?
I would run out the room and make him reach way in there to try to get me.
No, I'd give him a re-spar. Slap a re-spar right on his hand right there and say, "Here, guy. I'll make a friend." Buddy. Yeah, I don't know.
Actually, that King Kong movie remember the one from '76 with Jeff Bridges and what's her name there, Jessica Lange? That was like the remake. But now they've had so many remakes since then. It's incredible. I can't keep up with them.
I originally liked I like the old movies because you really had to use your imagination to make the movie realistic because the effects wasn't quite there, like when the King Kong was standing on the Empire State Building, and the old biplanes were flying by, shooting at him, and he was grabbing them and all that stuff. I mean, you could see the strings on the airplanes, Is this? Yeah, I never even knew an airplane, even a biplane, could turn like those in those little circles. You had to use your imagination, just like radio plays and stuff like that. You had to use your imagination. You didn't have no boob tube, no TV, no big screen. You just heard it on the radio, and you had to close your eyes and imagine what was going on.
Right, and with film, a lot of those old ones, it had a lot to do with the angles and the lighting, and radio had a lot to do with the pitch of your voice and how you said things. You know, you had to put more into it to make it more realistic compared to today, just, you know, CG and special effects that's off the hook.
Well, that, and, you know, I really like, you know, how they had to overreact, you know, to try to get their...
Yeah.
The big problem is a lot of those movie stars at the start came from silent, you know, movies.
Yeah, you're right. Yep, absolutely.
So you know,
that was a whole new field that was, you know, uncharted waters when they first came out. I remember I watched a documentary way back, and they were saying, "Oh, them talkies will never make it," and all this. It was a joke.
Excuse me, people. I coughed.
And now look at them.
Oh yeah, but you know, I've been really into, because I got a big screen for Christmas in my studio. And I tell you, now I won't say during the show, but you know, when I'm working here and booking people, I'm watching, you know, the big screen, and I hook it up to my laptop, and I go to YouTube, and I start watching all these old monster movies or old comedies. I spent last Saturday watching Laurel and Hardy. And, you know, even when they started making their first sound movies, it was still like they were doing it, you know, silent pictures. You know, they talked loud. They kind of took their hand motions more to try to, bring you into it. And it's funny how technology, this in a short, you know, 90 years, it has gone to what it is now, or 100 years, how we have our movies now.
Oh, it's just incredible. I mean, you could basically make a whole movie if you really wanted to without any actors except maybe for voiceovers. I mean, really.
Well, you know what? It really astounds me, as I've had a couple on my show, producers and directors that make major, you know, motion picture movies. And, you know, back in my day, because I also, being into like electronics and doing broadcasting, I was also in photography all my life. Well, from about 6 years old up. But cameras in Hollywood, you know, they don't need these real expensive, you know, film cameras anymore. I think there's only one producer or director that demands to do film nowadays. It's all done, you know, by memory chips and stuff like that. And the thing is that, let's face it, they are using some cameras that you can go to your local camera store, drop anywhere from $900 to $2,000, that are fully capable of making cinema movies. And a lot of the producers are using these cameras, not so much for the main scenes, but for like when you see the car chases or you see, you know, all these other things, they're using these type of cameras because the quality is there, and they don't have to look at $100,000 investment for a camera. They can spend $2,400 or $900, and if it gets destroyed, they're not out much. But the thing is, it leaves it open to all these people now making indie movies that they have a small budget and they can actually produce a full-fledged movie, you know, that knock your socks off for very little money.
Yeah, that's true. And then that puts a hamper on the actors that want to get paid, and it floods the market with a lot of stuff out there. And I don't know if the quality is as good, but I guess it's all when everybody's what their desire is. But yeah, you're right. You're right about that.
Well, I've seen some of these indie movies. Honestly, they're done just as good as any of the other movies. And, you know, naturally, somebody first starting out, it's not going to be as good as somebody who's made 4 or 5 or a dozen movies. But again, it also depends on the actors you get, you know, and also your editing and all that stuff. The key is your editing. Yeah,
absolutely, it is. And you know, I have seen a few indie movies on like IFC and stuff, and some of them, you're right, they're pretty good quality. And for the money, you're talking 80% less what it takes to pay a lot of actors, much less the whole crew and everybody to get the same product out.
Oh yeah, you know, and then you know, like Ron Fitzgerald is made a lot of, and starred in, I should say, a lot of horror sci-fi movies as a leading actor. And again, when I call an indie movie a low budget movie, we're talking maybe $1 million all the way down to $30, you know, depending on, you know, who's doing it. But it just makes you, you know, it just opens your eyes up. where our technology is going. And then the special effects, like years ago, when somebody got shot, they had to take that fake blood and smear everywhere